In our headlines on this Friday, November 29th, here in South Korea. Retail sales, factory output and facility investment all lost ground in October, marking the first triple decline since May, fueling wider concerns about the Korean economy. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden hopes the incoming Trump administration, quote, rethinks its tariff plans for its regional trade partners, namely Canada and Mexico. Back on the local front, K-pop girl group NewJeans held a press conference on Thursday to announce intentions to leave its agency ADOR amid failure to address grievances. Factory output, retail sales and facility investment all surrendered ground in October, marking the first triple decline since May. Our correspondent Moon Hae-ryun covers the latest findings.
South Korea's economy faced a setback in October, with production, consumption and investment all declining for the first time in 5 months. The data released by Statistics Korea on Friday underscores a persistent weakness in domestic demand. The country's industrial production index dipped 0.3% from the previous month, marking the second consecutive month of decline after a brief rebound in August. While manufacturing output increased by 0.4% due to a surge in semiconductor production, other sectors such as the auto sector faced challenges due to factory fires and strikes. Construction output contracted for the 6th consecutive month, the longest such streak since 2008. The decline was attributed to a slowdown in both civil engineering and building construction. Retail sales also fell by 0.4%, marking 2 straight months of decline. Although sales of non-durable goods like food and beverages increased, sales of durable goods like home appliances dropped significantly.
In October, there was a base effect from September because new telecommunication devices were released and bought that month. Also, the warmer weather this year led to lower sales of home appliances and heating products.
Meanwhile, facility investment fell by 5.8% month-on-month, largely due to decreased demand for machinery used in semiconductor manufacturing. This marked the largest decline since January of this year. This latest data follows the Bank of Korea's decision to cut the interest rate by another 25 basis points on Thursday, marking the first time in 15 years that the central bank has lowered the rate twice in a row. The BOK cited weak domestic demand as a reason behind the rate cut, as lowering the interest rate helps to stimulate economic activity by making borrowing cheaper. Experts, however, are doubtful about how much of an effect this could have on the country's declining construction sector.
Construction investment has been pretty poor for a long period, like 3 or 4 years. So I think it is not just because of the interest rate, it is a kind of a structural problem in the construction industry. So
going forward, the BOK said it would continue to monitor domestic economic indicators to set the pace for further cuts. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
The European Union has granted the green light to Korea's takeover of Air-Asiana Airlines, hammering down regulatory hurdles to the creation of the 7th largest carrier worldwide. Our Yoon-jin has details.
The European Union's competition authority granted final approval for Korean Air's high-profile acquisition of Air-Asiana Airlines on Thursday. The combined airline will become the world's 7th largest mega carrier in terms of passenger volume. Korea's national flag carrier said that the European Commission concluded its review of the airline, fulfilling all required conditions. In February this year, the European Commission granted conditional approval with 2 preconditions. One was the operation of a replacement carrier for the 4 overlapping European routes from Incheon to Barcelona, Frankfurt, Paris, and Rome. Korean Air has designated T-Way Air as the replacement carrier. And the second condition was the sale of Air-Asiana's cargo business, for which a legally binding agreement has been sealed with Air Incheon. Korean Air has now gained permission from 13 out of 14 countries, with a review by the United States pending. The EU's approval has been submitted to the U.S. authorities, and the Department of Justice is expected to conclude its review of the deal by the end of December, which is assumed to be a green light, as the DOJ normally contemplates legal action only if there is concern of a merger's potential monopoly. It has taken 4 years since the deal was first initiated in November of 2020. However, there are pending concerns from the merger that need to be resolved. Although Korean Air had earlier pledged to not implement any forced job cuts during the acquisition, industry officials and employees remain skeptical as there will be redundancy in duties performed by personnel of both airlines. For passengers, there remains a dilemma over how to merge the mileage points from both carriers. Korean Air's points are generally valued higher in the market, which means it is unlikely that the mileage points will be converted at a 1-to-1 ratio. Korean Air will keep Air-Asiana as a subsidiary for 2 years before fully subsuming the carrier. The successfully merged mega carrier is expected to have a workforce of 30,000 and around 230 aircraft. 이은진, Arirang News.
The building of 2 nuclear reactors by a South Korean consortium in the Czech Republic will be financed through state loans from the Czech government. Now, this is according to a Czech official amid rampant allegations of dumping practices. Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power was selected as the preferred bidder for the multi-billion-dollar project earlier in July, and rumors have since spread that the deal was sealed with a promise of financial support and dumping at a low price. In an interview on Thursday, Thomas Eller, Acting Director General for Nuclear Energy at the Czech Ministry of Industry, added that price was only one factor among over 60 criteria included in the bidding process. U.S. President Joe Biden hopes the incoming Trump administration, quote, rethinks its tariff plans for its regional trade partners. Our foreign affairs correspondent Pyongyang reports.
U.S. President Biden expressed hope that President-elect Trump will reconsider his plans to impose tariffs on Mexico and Canada. Speaking to reporters on Thursday, Biden stressed that the tariffs would ruin relations with the neighboring countries.
I hope he rethinks it. I think it's a counterproductive thing to do. You know, look, one of the things you've heard me say before that we have an unusual situation in America. We're surrounded by the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and 2 allies, Mexico and Canada. And the last thing we need to do is begin to screw up those relationships.
The comments come as Trump pledged to impose a 25% tariff on all goods coming from Mexico and Canada on day 1 of his presidency. He said on social media on Monday that the tariffs would remain in place until the 2 countries clamp down on drugs, particularly fentanyl, and migrants crossing their borders illegally. According to data from the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative, Mexico and Canada are the 2nd and 3rd highest suppliers of goods to the U.S., while China, which Trump's proposed plan would also impact, exports the most to the United States. But Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum showed confidence on Thursday that a tariff war with the United States could be averted when asked how a trade war would affect the country.
There will be no potential tariff war.
The Mexican leader had earlier warned that Trump's tariff plan would affect the U.S. economy and American companies that have been in Mexico for decades. Meanwhile, amid concerns that Trump could also impose tariffs on South Korea upon his return to the White House, the U.S. Congressional Research Service explained in its latest report that many economists argue tariff reductions under the free trade agreement between Seoul and Washington have not contributed significantly to the increase in the bilateral trade deficit. The FTA between South Korea and the U.S., which entered into force in March 2012, has reduced and eliminated tariff and non-tariff barriers on manufactured goods, agricultural products, and services. During Trump's first term, trade tensions have been evident, with Trump threatening to withdraw from the FTA and imposing new U.S. global import restrictions on some South Korean industries, including steel. Pyongyang, Arirang News.
And here on the Korean peninsula, Russian Defense Minister Andrei Belousov landed in Pyongyang earlier on this Friday. Now, this is according to Russian state media TASS, which added that he was welcomed by his North Korean counterpart, No Kwang-chol. Belousov will reportedly sit down with a number of North Korean military and political officials. The visit comes as North Korean troops fight alongside Russian soldiers against Ukraine. Discussions are widely expected to focus on further military cooperation. And military authorities here say 5 Chinese and 6 Russian aircraft entered the Korean Air Defense Identification Zone today. According to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the aircraft flew in and around the zone between 9:35 a.m. and 2 p.m. on this Friday. They approached from the East and South Seas but did not violate South Korea's airspace. The military detected the aircraft before they entered the zone and deployed fighter jets as a precautionary measure. Now, an air defense identification zone is unilaterally declared by a nation in a bid to track aircraft advancing into its territorial airspace for security purposes. Chinese and Russian aircraft have entered and left the South Korean air defense identification zone without incident in recent times. And South Korea has developed a long-range surface-to-air missile system using domestic technology. The development was commended in a ceremony on this Friday at the Agency for Defense Development in Daejeon with Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun in attendance. The system is reportedly able to shoot down targets at altitudes of 50 to 60 kilometers and will play a crucial role in the military's air defense strategy. Now, mass production will begin next year and deployment planned for the mid to late 2020s. Meanwhile, President Yoon Suk-yeol has applauded the latest advancement in defense, calling it, quote, groundbreaking in efforts to deter North Korea's missile threats. On the K-pop front, members of NewJeans held an unexpected press conference back on Thursday, announcing intentions to leave their agency, ADOR. Our Kim Bo-kyung tells us why.
K-pop girl group NewJeans announced on Thursday that they will end their contract with their agency ADOR, a subsidiary of HYBE, and start their own journey. During the emergency press conference, the 5-member group said neither HYBE nor ADOR have shown any willingness to improve the situation they are in.
ADOR lacks both the will and the ability to protect NewJeans. It's a waste of time to stay, and it also causes mental pain.
While saying they will no longer be ADOR artists with the exclusive contract terminated, the members said they will freely pursue activities they truly desire, while promising to do a pre-scheduled and contracted activities as planned, including advertisements. Regarding any legal measures, NewJeans clarified they won't be filing for an injunction to suspend the validity of the exclusive contract, as ADOR and HYBE are the ones that violated the terms, and they would not have any obstacle in continuing their activities. The group's contract termination follows the company's dispute with its former CEO, Min. After months of tensions over HYBE's allegations that Min had attempted to take control of the label and NewJeans, the agency removed her as ADOR's CEO in August. On November 13th, NewJeans had sent an official list of changes the group wants to be made by their agency ADOR within 14 days of receiving the paper document, which was November 14th. Their demands included the reinstatement of Min as CEO and a formal apology from the manager of another rookie group under HYBE subsidiary Islet over alleged workplace harassment against member Hani. But none of the corrective actions they demanded were properly made, said the members.
We have less than 4 hours left of the time we agreed upon. If there was any intention to rectify the situation, it could have been clearly shown through actions long before now.
After the announcement, ADOR issued a statement expressing regret over the group's decision, even before it gave a response to group's demand letter and without sufficient consideration. While stressing it has not violated any terms, ADOR claimed that the contract with NewJeans remains valid. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, K-pop boy band ATEEZ has been taking global music charts by storm. Our Ian tells us how.
K-pop boy group ATEEZ's new album is taking over the global charts. Despite the songs featuring more Korean lyrics than English, language was no barrier for their global fans. The group's latest album, Golden Hour Part 2, released on November 15th, topped the Billboard 200 chart for the second time, earning over 180,000 equivalent album units in the US during the week ending November 21st. Since BTS first reached #1 on the Billboard 200 in 2018, a total of 8 K-pop groups, including ATEEZ, have achieved this feat. ATEEZ is the only group not from one of the big 4 agencies, HYBE, SM, JYP, or YG, but from KQ Entertainment.
ATEEZ connects with fans through music and storytelling that transcends language. Their Korean lyrics, paired with powerful messages and high-quality music, have earned global recognition, reflecting K-pop's strong presence in the international market. The group's emphasis on detail and storytelling in their performances, music videos, and albums creates an immersive experience that has driven their worldwide success.
Today, people primarily discover music, especially K-pop, through videos. How does this lead fans to connect deeply with the music and overcome language barriers? Music critic Kim Won-sik explains.
The way we consume music has evolved significantly. ATEEZ, for instance, captures attention with their powerful performances. Now, once engaged, listeners can explore the song's meaning. Even if the song is in Korean, fans become devoted so they can fully relate to the music, allowing Korean songs to gain widespread popularity.
ATEEZ's new album also made a strong impact on European charts. On November 22nd, the UK's official charts announced that the album landed at #4 on the official albums chart, becoming the first ever K-pop group to secure 4 consecutive top 10 albums in the UK. The album also ranked in the top 10 of the album charts of the French Music Association SNEP in the German official chart. A study from last year revealed that K-pop songs charting in the top 400 of Circle Chart, a Korean album sales tracker, in the first half of the year had more English lyrics compared to 5 years ago. This shift was primarily aimed at reaching a wider audience and establishing broader international appeal, as the key to popular music lies in connecting with listeners. Today, music fans are embracing Korean songs like never before, proving that language is no longer a barrier to connection. Music has shifted from being created to connect with fans to fans creating their own bond with the music. 이은희, Arirang News.
And a musical producer here has been making remarkable strides on stages both at home and overseas. Now, ultimately, he hopes to put on the global stage a theatrical production in Korean to prove that language is no barrier in musicals. Our culture correspondent Song Yoo-jin met up with him.
Just like the lyrics, Shin Chun-soo's career is roaring on. A trailblazer in Korean theater, he's the president and main producer of OD Company, one of the country's leading musical production companies. This year, he made history as the first Asian to serve as the sole lead producer of a Broadway musical. The Great Gatsby, a stage adaptation of F. Scott Fitzgerald's classic novel, has been running at the Broadway Theater since April, grossing over $1 million every week since its opening, and even winning a Tony Award for Best Costume Design. And the momentum doesn't stop there. Next year, the production will make its West End debut. So, what's the secret to crafting a musical that's set to perform at the world's 2 greatest theater capitals?
The Great Gatsby is a timeless masterpiece with themes like the pursuit of love and struggles across social classes that feel so relevant today. We wanted the production to feel like one grand party, combining dazzling stage aesthetics with a powerful sense of tragedy.
But Gatsby is just one chapter in Shin's career. Back at home, the beloved Korean production of Jekyll and Hyde is gearing up for its 9th season.
Jekyll and Hyde helped me establish myself as a producer. At the time, it was seen as revolutionary, bringing together fresh talent from actors and staff to producers. For this 20th anniversary production, we focused on every detail, crafting it as a gift, not just for the audience, but for ourselves as well.
With a repertoire that includes hits like Grease, Sweeney Todd, Man of La Mancha, and Il Tenore, how does he decide which stories to bring to life?
Classic literature has universal emotions that connect with everyone, and classic musicals have songs that leave a lasting impression. Sometimes I take risks with experimental works that push boundaries, but at the heart of it all is my commitment to creating high-quality productions for the audience.
Shin also shared his vision for bringing Korean musicals to a broader audience.
I remember being a British producer in 2001 who was surprised to hear Korean even had musicals. Now, with the growing cultural and economic influence, Korean musicals are gaining global attention. To keep growing, we must see the world as our stage and support young talent to create works with universal appeal.
And he'll keep working hard to make this happen.
My next goal is to stage a production with Korean actors performed in Korean. I believe musicals can transcend language, and this will showcase the talent of our actors and the excellence of Korean musicals.
It's a decades-long passion that's driving Korean musicals to new heights on the world stage. 송유진, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you the latest stories from around the globe. The Australian Senate on Thursday passed a bill banning social media for children under 16 years of age, following approval from the House of Representatives the day before. The new social media law targets platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat, which will be liable for fines of up to $33 million if they fail to prevent children from holding accounts. Among the world's strictest laws regarding social media, the bill passed the Senate by 34 votes to 19 on Thursday. While it is not the first attempt by a country to restrict social media exposure for children, the law sets the highest age limit yet, with no exemptions for existing users or children with parental consent. While critics question how exactly the ban will work and its impact on the social connectivity of Australian children, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said previously that he wants peace of mind for parents and for young Australians to have a childhood. Now, the ban will not take effect for about a year, giving the social media platforms time to figure out how to implement the policy to avoid the penalties. Indonesian emergency services are on full alert as they continue searching for survivors after the death toll from flash floods and landslides in North Sumatra province reached at least 27 on Thursday. Indonesian authorities said the number of casualties may rise as tourist locations have also been hit. The country's National Disaster Agency said Thursday that torrential rain since last week destroyed houses and farms in mountainous regions, many of which remain covered in mud and fallen trees. Authorities also said some vehicles remain trapped on roads around the region's largest city of Medan, where bodies from a tourist bus were recovered earlier. Local elections were also affected, with floods closing some polling stations in the city. The Colombian Navy announced Wednesday the capture of 6 narcotic smuggling submarines as part of a successful international anti-drug operation. According to Colombian Navy's Vice Admiral, the 6-week International Orion naval campaign, involving 10 international organizations and 62 countries, seized a total of 1,408 metric tons of narcotics, including 225 tons of cocaine and over 1,000 tons of marijuana, from various locations, including cultivation areas between Brazil and Paraguay. Now, more than 400 people were reportedly arrested across several countries as part of the operation. Thursday marked one of the U.S.'s biggest holidays of the year, Thanksgiving, with celebrations not just at homes, but on the streets with annual parades. Thousands of New Yorkers came out for the annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, despite wet weather, to watch marching bands, performances by pop artists, and giant balloons of America's favorite characters. Chicago held its 90th annual Thanksgiving Day Parade, also on Thursday, with spectators cheering diverse cultural acts, including Korean traditional music and dance performances. Kim Seong, Arirang News.
This morning, Seoul plummeted to minus 3.4 degrees Celsius, which was the coldest morning this winter. Even during the daytime, it only rose to 3 degrees, but the feels-like temperature was colder at 1 degree. The sky will stay a little cloudy this weekend, but it will still be good to enjoy outdoor activities as the cold spell slows down a bit. Until today, it will rain or snow a little more in southern Gyeonggi-do province, the Chungcheong-do provinces, the Jeollado provinces, Gyeongsang-buk-do province, and Jeju Island. With a heavy snow advisory in place in the mountainous areas of Jeju Island, up to 7 centimeters will accumulate. Rain will fall in the central parts of the country tomorrow as well. Tomorrow, cold morning is expected in most parts of the country. Daejeon -1, Daegu and Gyeongju 1 degree. Highs will move up to 12 degrees in Gwangju, Busan 13 degrees. Mild conditions with a daytime temperature of 12 degrees in Seoul will be seen on Monday. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
Those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. Coming up next is our daily panel session. Do stay with us.